What's happening, sports fans? We welcome you into another San Diego Prep Insider. We've got a pretty exciting show for you today. Tommy Morse is here. Bodie De Silva is here. He is from Scorebook Live, the official digital content provider for the entire state. But we really only care about Bodie specifically because we like to stir up our little San Diego versus Southern section rivalries in our head that, maybe don't play out on paper quite the same way, but we like to stir them up. Our intern Colton Toll is joining us. Colton, how was school today?
It's great. Wrote a good little paper. Had a little exam this morning. Now we're ready to get this going.
What'd you write a paper on today?
I had to interview someone, actually.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
The basis of that. It was chill.
Very cool. The intern is here, but the intern got fixed this week, so she's a little bit more subdued and quiet right now while on painkillers. It's a Zoom day, but we got a lot to get to. I want to talk about top 10s because West Hills, some other new teams, kind of cool, like trickling back into the conversation. The power rankings are out, and I would say that at least I'm going to guess that at least two of us on this Zoom think that they are a disaster, if not more. And we're going to pick games as always because we got a couple of undefeated teams still making their way toward the end of the season. Let's go with the top 10 though. Let's start with you, Tommy Morris. You got a top 10 that you like. You like going 10 to 1. Bodie likes going to 1 to 10, so it works out perfectly. Give us 10 to 1, Tommy Morris.
10 to 1. So a lot of these teams, like I said last week, are on bye. So not a lot of movement. We do have one new top 10 team, and that's number 10, El Camino. They sneak in there after their win. They're now 3-2. Tough loss against Grossmont earlier in the year, but I think they'll make up for it towards this back half here. So I like El Camino there. Number 9 is Mission Hills. It should be very interesting to see how they perform with a new quarterback. I know we're going to talk about it later in the show. Madison is number 8. Scripps Ranch is number 7. Helix is number 6. Tough game for them last week. We got number 5, Torrey Pines. 4, Modern Day Catholic. I mean, they're just rolling through their schedule.
They're good,
but it's
man.
hard
They're really, really good.
Yeah, it's hard to unsee these top 3 teams. I've got Lincoln at number 3. Cathedral is number 2. And until they lose, or until a game that kind of like makes us think, wow, I got Carlsbad at number 1 still until, again, the Mission Hills game almost had me dethrone them, but not so much yet. So they're still number 1.
Somebody's blowing up right now.
That's me. I don't know how to turn it off. I think we went over this.
Popular guy today. Big day for Tommy Morris.
On the side.
Also, low key, I love the timing. Whoever it is, they're stealing a page out of my playbook of just text bombing somebody while they're trying to do a live on air thing. Bodie De Silva.
It's the computer. It's the computer. It's not the phone.
Wait, that's what I'm saying. Still, just it's you can't figure out how to turn off the notification sounds, and then
I did it once.
If you Google it, you'll find it. I couldn't walk you through it, but there is.
I know. I've done it before. I just can't. I don't know. I'll do it again. I'm confident in myself. I'll be able to figure it out again.
We're going to put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram. Our computer notification sounds frustrating. I think
it should just be like your phone where there's just a button. It's like, hey, I don't want that anymore. Why can't it be that easy?
Also, why does your phone need to be, why does your computer need to be your phone? Why does your computer need the ability to text? Like some of that stuff, it just brings up excessive amounts for little whistles and dings.
I did forget to charge it last night, and so it was convenient earlier this morning where I could just charge my phone and text via the computer. That was nice. But other than that, it's just annoying. But I know how to do it. I know I've done it before.
Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live. Plug where everyone can find all the information you got coming out, what's going on this week at Scorebook Live, and give us your top 10, please.
Yeah, scorebooklive.com/California. This week, I am finishing up the top linebackers in the state, so certainly there'll be from San Diego included in that. When it comes to the top 10, there's been very minimal movement these last couple of weeks. Only one change for me. Up at the top, I still have Cathedral Catholic at number 1 until a San Diego section opponent can tell me that they can really take them down. I'm going to keep having them there. Carlsbad there at number 2. Obviously, have a big one this week. Lincoln at 3, Modern Day Catholic at 4, Torrey Pines at 5, Mission Hills at number 6, Scripps Ranch at number 7, Madison at 8, number 9, Mount Carmel, a team I finally got to see in person. Super impressive. Now 13 straight quarters without allowing a point, which is just incredible. And then El Camino slides in at number 10 after taking down Eastlake, who was previously my number 10.
I'm going to put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram. If you haven't allowed a point in 13 quarters, are you doing something right?
Yeah.
All of this being said, all of these top 10s, and thank you for that, guys. All these top 10s are always just conjecture and voting and randomness that we see, We see what we see, each as our own independent analyst, and then we come up with a vote. It has no impact. The things that
and you get teams, excuse me, there that like a modern day Catholic. I'd love if they were Division I eligible this year. They're not. I have them up there. I think they can compete with the best, but fortunately, we won't get to see that playoff time.
Oh no, I'm okay with that. Let them just destroy D3 and get us a state title because they'll be underseeded. But what I was segueing into is the things that actually do matter in terms of getting, the playoffs seeded and figured out. These numbers have been released now.
Go on it. So yeah, just looking at it here, Lincoln is clearly better than 6. I mean, they have their one loss is to Los Alamitos, a loaded Southern Section team. I'm a little surprised Madison's that high. They're having a good season. They definitely have some tough league games coming up, starting with Cathedral this week. Mission Hills, I would expect to drop, but once again, they get the credit for playing 3 out-of-section teams to start the season there. Really, if Lincoln were up 2 or 3 spots, everything would kind of seem right about order to me. I mean, Helix, I'm a little surprised, but with 2 of their losses there, it's blowouts, and with there not being with it not being added in a point differential, then that's going to help them there. So yeah, I mean, it's disappointing to see Lincoln that low because I don't think you'd find anyone that would agree that they are the 6th best team in Division I. They're top 3 and maybe higher depending on where you see them there. So I hope it'll get worked out, but we'll see here. It's definitely going to be a difficult process with teams not playing the same amount of games, whether that's 7 games, 10 games, or somewhere in between.
Tommy.
So my computer's playing an ad. I'm having the worst technological day in the history of, I think, myself.
Good. Get it out now for the stretch run. So, week 7 through championship, you're good.
Too many bad things can happen on Zoom. I feel for all the kids who had to do a bunch of Zoom classes last year. Literally anything that could have gone wrong for me today has gone wrong. And by the way, I've not fixed the issue with the dinging, so it might happen again. It said no sound on notifications. I'm angry. I clicked the thing. Anyway, going back to Bodie said, I think I know why they don't have point differential in there, because they don't want teams blowing other teams out. But at some point that has to matter, because it's not fair. I mean, again, Helix's losses were to the number 1 team on this list, and then a team from Southern Section that's arguably top 10 in the state. So I get it. I understand why they are where they are, but Lincoln deserves to be higher. I think the good thing with this is, I think a lot of times with high school football, we conflate it to college football. And in college football, basically, if you're ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, you get in the top 4. And if you don't lose, you're not going to lose your rankings, so people freak out. That's not the case with this, because as the schedules get harder for some of these teams that are probably lower than they should be, they'll bump up. So it doesn't matter what happens at the top. It doesn't matter if teams win or lose. Their strength of schedule isn't truly factored into what it is till the season ends. So I think everyone needs to relax a little bit, because I don't, again, I think what hurts Lincoln is yes, they play Los Al, but they also play Monte Vista, and then Otay Ranch has not looked great so far this year. So those 2 games are going to hurt them. They're going to play Saints this week, which right now, Saints, you look at them right now, they're at 13 and they're 1-5. So I wouldn't freak out just yet if I'm one of the teams that's outside looking in, but yeah, it's not a perfect system, and you hope that by the end of the season it sorts itself out. But again, do not freak out about this, because this isn't college football. It's not a committee ranking them where if they go undefeated, they stay where they are. That's not the case. The numbers will dictate it. So teams can win and still drop down. So I would not worry about it that much if your team is not where you want them to be.
So what are we looking at here? 1, 2 aren't going to go anywhere, and there's still a slot for 3 and 4 to be fought over, or is it 1, 2, and 3 are slotted, and it's just spot 4 to be fought over? Give us just a little bit of a playoff bubble that you guys might be watching out of any of these teams.
Yeah, the interesting thing I'm looking at just in those top 6 really is all the matchups that they're going to have against each other. Starting with this week, you got 5 Madison against Cathedral. You have 3 Torrey Pines at Carlsbad. You'll have Torrey Pines playing Mission Hills here in a couple of weeks. You'll have Lincoln finishing the season hosting Cathedral. So I hope, like what Tommy said, that those will help get things back to where it should be with these head-to-head matchups. There's no guarantee. We know how that is there, but you would hope that if the team that is supposed to win takes care of business, that they will be able to hop over the other team there. and kind of sort this as it is. It's tough when you're not going to have enough games, like when basketball uses this system and you have 28, 29 games to kind of average things out. It's obviously a third of that in football, and this year maybe even less. So I just see in those top 6, there's so many head-to-head matchups these last 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
But does that open up?
Hoping.
How low does that open up? I mean, are we saying that El Camino and Eastlake still have an open division chance if enough of a car crash happens, or is it just some permutation of that top 6 or 7?
I would say almost yes, because if you look at Torrey Pines' schedule, they're going to finish with San Marcos and La Costa Canyon. If you look at that list, who are the 2 at the bottom? So even if they win those games, that's going to be docked against them. They're going to have to play a Mission Hills team that's very good and an El Camino team that's going to, I mean, that'll be the game. If El Camino can beat Torrey Pines, I think they got a real shot at this thing. The Grossmont loss is going to hurt them. But Torrey Pines, just by proxy of having to play San Marcos and La Costa Canyon, their ranking is going to go down. So like I said, you have to wait for all the games to happen so that the strength of schedule is accurate, which I think a lot of teams are going to be frustrated with until the schedule's over. But I think hopefully the way the math works out, it'll all even itself out. But it's just tough to do with, like Bodie said, a very, very small sample size with a lot of these teams playing 5 and 6 games. It's not enough to make the math work. You got to really get almost a full schedule in for it to make sense. So I wouldn't freak out about it yet.
You are the oddly calm one here, Tommy. I like that.
And what Tommy was saying, both Torrey Pines and Carlsbad both have La Costa and San Marcos on that schedule to here at the end of the year. So I would be really interested if you had an Avocado League team that in Carlsbad or Torrey Pines case, if they were both to run the rest of the season undefeated in league, you would hope that they don't drop enough just because they have those teams on their schedule there at the end. But El Camino would be one I would look at. They do have the 1 league loss early on, but if they could find a way to get 4, or I guess it would be 5 here to finish out the regular season, I could see them having a chance, because I think they would be boosted up enough to jump in there.
What you're also saying is that low key LCC could be that person that shoots the blue shell in Mario Kart. From way back downtown, they find that first place team and they just knock them off late in the season. I like that narrative. Colton, I want to move on to Division 2, but I want to hear from you real quick. Give us a team that, Bodie and Tommy gave us a ton of the open division potential conversations. Who do you like that if they make it into that D1 spot as an early favorite for out of this group right now?
Out of this group?
Yeah, I mean, between Madison, Lincoln, Helix, maybe all the way down to Oceanside and Granite.
I think Granite looks really solid this year, and I think that a lot of people aren't giving them enough credit. But I've watched some of their highlights. Granite looks really good this year.
I like it. Colton, apparently I also skipped your top 10, so you want to fire those off real quick while I get us over to the Division 2 rankings, please?
Yeah, I'll go real quick. At 10, I have Matt Carmel. Obviously, their defense is insane, but they still have to prove themselves a little bit more. El Caminos look good. They have a couple signature wins. Madison at 7. Or at 8, I'm sorry. Mission Hills at 7. Helix at 6. Martyr Days at 5 for me. Torrey Pines at 4. Lincoln's at 3. Cathedral's at 2. And I'll give Carlsbad the top spot.
You can follow our intern at Pro Colton 2. All right, guys, a little bit quicker because there's no split on this one, but here are the Division 2 rankings. Scripps, Poway, Otay, La Jolla are the top 4 seeds. Is the narrative overall through all of this that no matter what we talk about now, it's still just too early, or can any of these brackets take a little bit more shape? Tommy?
I was muting myself as to not make any more noise. Division 2, I mean, when we started the season, we thought La Jolla would be the runaway winner of this thing. I think it's going to be one of the more exciting divisions because I really think Scripps, Poway, La Jolla, even Otay, the 4 there at the top have a real shot at this thing. Mira Mesa, always a tough game. And I know Christian took their lumps this week, but, we'll see what we got there. And then the wild card to me would be, San Diego runs a really weird offense compared to the other. I mean, not weird in the sense that it's weird in the sense that it's older and not a spread offense. So San Diego and Morse are kind of wild cards here because a lot of schools have trouble preparing for them. And if you are San Diego and Morse and you can run the ball and waste clock and limit the possessions, you have a chance to upset anybody. So I would really not sleep on, again, they're way down there in the rankings, but I would not sleep on them. San Diego's rankings are going to come up because their schedule gets a little bit harder. Them playing O'Farrell really hurts that ranking there, though. So I think that's why they're as low as they are. But I really think there's about 5 or 6 teams in this division that have a shot, and which is fun to say because in the beginning of the season we thought this would be a runaway.
Bodie?
Yeah, I agree with Tommy. Just looking down the list here, Christian had been playing really well until this last week, so I don't think we can count them out. San Pasqual, Morse, San Diego, even Central's been really competitive in the games they've played. So I think when this bracket does come around, that I would definitely be taking one or two of the lower seeds to make some noise and.
Well, you're looking at lower seeds. There are 2 lower seeds that are 4-1.
Yeah.
There's a 5-1, and above them you have teams that are 2-2 and 1-3. So to me, this is really hard to make sense of because teams are playing in both directions. They're playing up and losing, or they're playing way down and winning. And it really, this one confuses me because it's not just like the La Jolla Scripps runaway, but even at 4-0, man, I have not seen a single blemish in Scripps Ranch's game plan yet. I know it's not the same games as everyone else, but right now, like, they got to be the de factos in this one, no matter how hard you want to argue for a 5-1 Cavers at the 10 seed.
No, I absolutely agree. And just looking at the numbers, it seems like Scripps Ranch is pretty solidly in that number 1 spot. But beyond that, whether it's Poway, Rancho Bernardo, they're going to get tough games in league. They each have to play Mount Carmel. I think San Pasqual is going to make a good run here, as they already have one league win. I think even Point Loma at the bottom, now that they're not in the Western League, now that they're in the 15 spot, and the 3 seeds won 1 game. So it's like Tommy said, this is going to be a really exciting bracket, and I think a lot of chaos.
Well, another weird thing with Scripps Ranch, they're currently scheduled to play 9 games, so we'll see what happens with that. I don't.
Oh, I've been screaming that from the mountaintop. I've been screaming that from the mountaintop that we're going to have to adopt some sort of kind of resolution to get through this season. On to Division 3. If anyone else has anything on D2, go ahead. D3, I mean, holy hell, top 4 teams all undefeated. That's pretty savage, but does it even matter, though? Because Modern Day is just too good, right? Like, they're just misseeded. They're in the wrong bracket. They are the argument every year that there's always that one team that should be able to jump up to whatever. Like, am I a fool for just saying all that? Colton, what do you think about this bracket?
I think it's a really good bracket, and it'd be a competitive D3, but I mean, there's no way Modern Day should be in this bracket. It's really kind of unfair, but I mean, I'm not counting any of the teams. Like, obviously Santa Fe, Santana, Mount Carmel, they're all like stacked teams that could put up a fight against Modern Day, but Modern Day is just kind of playing down this year. Like, they should be up in divisions.
I'm going to put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider. If the top 4 teams in a division are all undefeated, would you assume it's anybody's race?
And West Hills at 6 is undefeated too.
True. Bodie, Tommy, any object? Like, do you want to? Can you make any case for anybody here being able to face Modern Day Catholic in a championship scenario?
The one I would want to see would be Mount Carmel.
You go for it, Bodie.
Yeah, I would want to see Mount Carmel, just the way they've been playing defensively. And that's not to say that they can continue their shutout against Modern Day Catholic, a team that had scored 50 or plus in their first 3 and then shut out Saints 35-0 most recently. So just the personnel Mount Carmel has, the way they use Jaden Virgin defensively, and I think he could cause some issues there. But I just would wonder, can they score enough to keep up with Modern Day Catholic? But if I had to pick a game, that would be the championship I'd want to see here, to at least give Modern Day the toughest challenge. But as we said, I mean, Modern Day is someone that each of us have in our top 5. So clearly we think really highly of them and wish they weren't playing in Division 3, but that's how it shakes out.
Agreed.
To put this in perspective, if Modern Day and Santa Fe Christian were in Division 1, they'd be the overall 6 and 8 seed, which for playoffs would put them as the
2 seed and the 4 seed in
D1.
Yeah,
the 2 and 4 seed. So that's where they are. And they're in Division 3 right now. So it's, again, that will not stay the same, because Santa Fe Christian is going to have to play some games that'll hurt their point total, no matter if they win or lose. And I don't think Modern Day is in that boat. So I think Modern Day is comfortably going to be the 1 seed. But these are good teams. These are not, I know it says Division 3, but they're just as good as the teams in Division 2.
Well, and I'm looking down now, and 4-1 LCAP, 4-2 Imperial. Like, there's like 8 really, really solid teams that if we just look at this playoff bracket, in a vacuum without knowing really who's on the team, you'd be like, damn, man, it's gonna be a hell of a fight.
Probably at 4-2 as well.
Yeah, Division 4.
That offense is weird.
Never, ever, ever ever bring up doubting Brawley around Tommy. He still has a little bit of PTSD following the basketball championships.
They knocked me out too.
Division 4. This one I think is a great story. Coronado is Coach Hines in his, I believe, his 4th year now as a head coach at Coronado, finally turning that program in the right direction. University City has a ton of firepower, and they have lost only close games. RBV, hot start. Del Norte is always in it. Patrick Henry is a great offense. Parker's the small school representative here. Tommy, I think that I can allow you to abdicate from this should you so choose. So we will start with Bodie. Unless you want to go, Tommy, it's all you. I never, don't. Yeah. Okay. Deal. Bodie.
Yeah. Looking at it, I mean, Coronado's a team that, especially like we were talking about with point differential, if that was included, seeing what they did against a Kearney team, they're already at number 1, but I got to see Rancho Buena Vista last week. Mount Carmel really handled them, but it was clear that Rancho Buena Vista has some talent. They entered the game with the leading rusher in the entire county, Angelino Trapasso. And just looking down the list, I think Del Norte will have a tough time in league because they're going to have to take on Mount Carmel and Rancho Bernardo, Poway, all those. Parker's one I look at that I think they're a good team, but I would be worried with so many bigger public schools ahead of them if they just have the numbers that they're going to need to compete. But clearly they've been impressive this year. I would Coronado at 1, but there's no guarantee. I wouldn't say it's a lock like when we were just looking at with Division 3. I think University City, Rancho Buena Vista are both interesting teams that would give Coronado a really tough time.
Colton.
I think Coach Hines is one of the best coaches in the county, so Coronado is obviously up there for me. University City has such a dynamic offense. Down at 9, Sweetwater's a lot better than the 1-3 record says they are. They're a lot better. RBV, I was at that game too last week against Mark ML. Obviously, they got shut out, but they got some playmakers on that team too. It's like this isn't a division where you can look at the top and say this is dominated by one team. This is really anyone's division at this point.
I think this is interesting because we're almost talking about the flip of some of what we talked about with the earlier divisions, where these teams are the ones that are going to lose some of the league games to the bigger teams, but they will be somewhat, maybe not helped by it, but not hurt as bad as when we were talking about earlier. The bigger division teams, they're going to win against these lower division teams, and it's just not going to help them. They have to, hang on for the skin of their teeth. I'm glad, Colton, that you bring up Sweetwater. We talked about them, I think it was last week, being one of my picks for the best sub-500 team in San Diego, and I would be scared of them in the playoffs. Division. Go ahead, Tommy.
Yeah, I'll just say this really quickly. What's going to be interesting too is you have the 2 teams at the top, and then you also have, we go back real quick, Patrick Henry, Coronado, University City, all in the same league, all will be playing each other. So that'll kind of sort itself out. University City's already played Del Norte, so a lot of these teams will have seen each other before, which should make it interesting. And then, not to be a homer, but don't sleep on Country Day at number 10. We mentioned them a few times. Very dynamic offense. Their defense has to catch up with them a little bit, but they can score with anybody. So at 10, they're going to be scary. And I don't know where they're going to shake out rankings-wise because their schedule the rest of the way is not that difficult, but they're going to be scary for some teams in the first round.
All homerism is welcome. All of it. Colton has already voted. In the first time he's ever done a top 10 on this show, he's voted for his former head coach arbitrarily to be in the top 10.
Hey, you can't argue with defense.
You can. You can also argue just with a like visual. It does not pass the visual test the same way it does it when I show up in La Jolla Vikings gear, head to toe, and I drag our entire show into probably what will be one of its worst collective sound bites. When I was just screaming at all of you guys, take La Jolla, take La Jolla. It's right up there with our Carson Baker disrespect that we perpetrated a while ago. On to Division 5. We're looking at here on the screen, and Army Navy has allegedly put up a huge statistical offensive year in terms of yard production. Mission Bay, to me, kind of feels like the anointed. It's their time. Their senior class has been working for this for a while. Like the little bit of just like you look at this and they pass all the checks the easiest to be a champion here, but you never know. 5-0 Escondido Charter is probably going to be, worth paying attention to. We've talked a little bit about San Ysidro on the show this year being somebody that is always, or at least the last couple of years, trending upwards. Colton, what do you got?
Clash Osborne at Mission Bay. He's so talented and he makes the offense so much better. San Ysidro, I agree. They did a complete turnaround with that program. They've gone up. It's nice to see. Division 5, it can be really competitive. There's a lot of teams out where we don't really get to see them a lot. You come in with a weird offense, they'll put up 50 a game on you. So this is division where obviously right now Mission Bay looks like the favorite, but I think this is a division where you could see a lot of upsets in the playoffs, and it's just a lot of teams you don't know that much about. They come in and they're a lot better than you think they are.
Tommy.
Yeah, Mission Bay, I think, is the favorite so far in this. And we talk about teams that maybe aren't in the correct division. That's probably one of them. They should probably be a little bit higher. Again, no fault to theirs that they're playing the hand that were dealt. But I think in Division 5, they're the favorites. Look out for Holtville, though. Holtville, as you were mentioning, Colton, kind of a weird, gimmicky type offense. Again, a little more old school. Yeah. They're kind of way out there in the middle of nowhere. And it's tough to go there and play. I think, fortunately for Mission Bay, they won't have to go there because I think they'll be the 1 seed. But that is a team that could sneak up on you. And I think Fallbrook too, and I know the record doesn't look so good. They're not as bad as the record dictates. They got some good athletes on that team. I think Fallbrook's a team that in the playoffs, we're going to be like, whoa, where'd that come from? But I would look at Fallbrook and Holtville to potentially give Mission Bay a chance or a run for the money. Sorry.
Bodie De Silva.
Yeah, once again, Mission Bay looks like the favorite to me, but I think there's a bunch of teams here that are really out of order. Fallbrook definitely appears to be better than 5 in my opinion. San Ysidro would be way better than 12 in my opinion. So we'll see in these last few weeks. Hopefully some things in league are able to balance out each other, but this looks like another bracket that we could see some double-digit seeds winning first-round games.
Put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider. Is league play the great equalizer? Because I feel like that's just been your guys' go-to is nobody panic. League play is going to play this all out correctly. And I just don't think it is that anymore because I think league play is becoming so fractured and chaotic as teams jump 2 different leagues to try and find better setups and scenarios. And
I think what we're seeing now, especially with the way the rankings are, it really is kind of important to have these league realignments because it does unfairly hurt and benefit some teams. If you look at Fallbrook, they're going to have to play Valley Center, Escondido, San Pasqual, and RBV in league. Those are all, divisions up. So by playing those games, their ranking is going to climb. So they're not going to be number 5 at the end of the season. Even if they lose the rest of their games, they're going to climb up because they got a tougher pathway than everybody else. So it's also a lot better test for them. They're going to be playing tougher teams in these other schools. So that's why I was pretty big on Fallbrook there. But yeah, the league schedules really kind of neutralize everything as far as teams being way too high or way too low.
Any final thoughts on league rankings, anything like that, Bodie or Colton, before we move on to game picks? Nope. Deal. Nope is always preferable to just dead silence as a heads up for future radio production. That's just a note to you, Colton, the intern. First game we got Oceanside, Mission Hills. This one is, I think, especially interesting considering the quarterbacking situation at Mission Hills. They have good players. They have the great pieces. This should be Mission Hill's game to win or lose. They should be the one in the driver's seat, but there's always an unknown. You can't. If anybody comes on here and tells you they can scout a backup high school quarterback, they are an absolute liar, and they have no idea what they're talking about. So that being said, let's all be absolute liars and have no idea what we're talking about. Let's start with you, Tommy Morris. What do you got here?
Yeah, I like Oceanside in this one. And I think part of what's made it so tough to predict some of these games and looking back at schedules and saying, oh, this is going to be this and by this much, it's been the whole COVID, the elephant in the room is a COVID thing. Last week, I know Oceanside won by a lot, but Dan Morrison couldn't play in that game. He did not test positive for COVID, did not have COVID, but I think he was a close contact, so he had to sit out that game. So there's a lot of that going on this year. I just want to remind everybody that sometimes the scores can be misleading. When we get to playoffs, there might be some kids that are playing games that didn't play earlier in the season because of situations like this. Dan Morrison, I think, is going to have a huge day for them. He's going to come back angry and hungry for some yards. So I like Oceanside in this one.
Bodie De Silva.
I'm going to go with Mission Hills here. I think the week of not having to play a game, figuring out their offense, getting everything situated there, They were really impressive even after Gunnar Hensley went down against Carlsbad. Defensively, they were able to shut out Carlsbad the rest of the way, held them to the 13 points that they scored early on.
I was going to say, that one was 13-7, right?
Yeah, 13-7 final there. So even had a chance. They got the ball to midfield there before they turned it over as the clock ran out. But I think the way they use Jaden Latua, their standout linebacker, in the running game, I think will be really tough for Oceanside to defend. I know Oceanside's had a lot of success on offense this year, but I think this is going to be a lower scoring game for them, and I think it's one that Mission Hills can pull out.
Colton.
I also like Oceanside in this game. I think a big win like this is going to put them up in the top 10. They're just a lot better football team than a 3-2 record shows. Oceanside.
Bodie, I got to go with your analysis on if the defense could hold Carlsbad to 13. Like that's ridiculous. That's good, because we are holding up Carlsbad as being the number one team in the county right now on a lot of the voting polls. And if you are losing by the skin of your teeth to that team, that's a really impressive mark. And my rule of thumb is, I like my guys I go with you until you show me otherwise. And Oceanside's not an undefeated Oceanside. They have shown otherwise. So I'll take Mission Hill, but it's going to be another low scoring game. I don't see this one being a ton of offense on either side. Santana LCAP is going to probably not be that. That's probably going to be a very high-scoring, fun thriller of a game. Colton, I got a vague little out of you on that one. You seem like you are genuinely interested in the result there. So give us your pick, Santana versus LCAP.
Defensive games are fun too, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, no, hey.
Defensive
games are the same as pitchers' duels. Like, they're an acquired taste, but some people enjoyed the way that Steve Fisher coached a basketball game, where it was first one to 50 wins. Like, some people like that kind of stuff. Other people don't. I'm not here to judge that. I'm just saying that game's going to be brutal to watch if you are not there for appreciating the fact that a linebacker plugged the A gap correctly. Colton, give us your pick here. LCAP, Santana.
LCAP's so good. Their offense is really fun. I played against them. LCAP always puts numbers on the board. LCAP's going to win a big shootout. I like it.
Is there an S-bomb in there?
No.
It's shootout.
I said shootout.
Shootout. Oh, deal.
What do you think he said?
I don't know, man. I just heard win with big bleep out. Tommy, what do you got here?
I got the Yoakley family with 1,474 combined yards between the two of them, between Savion and Antoine. So that's pretty good.
Wait. Hit me with that number. That'll be our stat of the day.
1,474 total yards for the Yoakley family so far this year. Two very good football players, and they're part of the excitement for the LCAP team. I do like LCAP in this one. Like you said, though, I think we're going to have a lot of points in this. Santana has a fun offense as well. It is going to be a shootout. We're doing over-under still, Bodie?
All right, under. Hammer the under on that previous game. Give me the under.
Okay, I'll put for this one. I'll put 75.5 for though. I think they're going to score a total of about 75 points between the two of them.
Okay, wait. First off, go back and let's retroactively do that first game. Over under on the first one.
32.
Oh, under.
Oh, I'd go over 32.
Wait. Bodie, you're talking about Mission Hills Oceanside.
Yeah, I think we see like 2017.
Crazy sons of guns. Tommy, are you up or are you under or over?
Well, he said it.
All right.
I said it, but I think I'm over. I was just trying to put a line that would seem enticing.
Have this, and Tommy, the intern sets the lines for you. You're just relaying the messages from the intern. Next game, you had it at 50 something. Wait, what'd the intern have it at? 52? 75? No way. Yeah. I'll take the over. I'll take it.
Here, I'll go on this one quick. I like El Capitan. It is interesting looking at their one common opponent. They each played Coronado. El Cap lost by 5, and Santana beat Coronado 10-7. So maybe it's not as high scoring as we thought there. I would go under that number, and I like El Cap to end Santana's perfect run.
No, we need Santana West Hills to be undefeated when they play each other.
I'm not against it.
Man, this one's tough, though, because like Tommy mentioned, big play potential on both sides. But the Yoakley brothers, this to me feels like this could be the put some respect on our name game where they're taking down an undefeated team. So it goes against every common sense that I have in my body to say that Santana will win, but I need to root for that pair of 9-0 Santana West Hills teams clashing. Tommy, Did we get your pick?
I went LCAP.
All right, deal. On to our last game of the day to predict, and we thank everybody for sticking around with us. We got Patrick Henry versus Morse. Give us the over-under from the intern, and then, Bodie, we will start with you.
56.
I'm going to go Patrick Henry here. I'll go under on that number 2. I think this is something like Patrick Henry 28-14, 28-17. We know Morse likes to run the ball, so I think ball being on the ground a little more, maybe the clock's running, so that's I'll take the under there. I think Patrick Henry pulls one out by maybe 2 possessions.
Colton.
I'll take Morse. Their offense is really, really difficult to stop. I agree with the ball being on the ground. The clock's going to be going for the most part of the game. I'll take the under as well. I'll take Morse by 4 points.
Tommy.
I like Patrick Henry here. We talked about Malcolm earlier. They almost beat him in the second week of the season. They've had some pretty decided victories, except for their only other loss was to Point Loma. Point Loma, a very underrated team, but they've kind of gone back to their old ways a little bit, and they have really, really improved. I think come playoff time, they're going to be, the offense will look even smoother because they did kind of make it. It is a jarring transition from the spread offense to the fly offense.
Are you talking about Point Loma right now?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm saying that was one of Patrick Henry's losses. So I do like Patrick Henry in this one. Elijah Lux, 148 all-purpose yards per game. If I'm not mistaken, he moved to Texas and came back, and he has looked every bit as good as he was before he left. One of the best football players in San Diego. I like Patrick Henry in this one. I think it'll be very close. I think it'll be about a touchdown score difference. And as you guys have all mentioned, running the ball with Morse, they're going to be able to control the clock. So Patrick Henry needs to just relax and understand that they're not going to have the ball as many times as they're used to, and just make the most of their opportunities. But I think Patrick Henry wins this one.
We'll put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider on Twitter and Instagram. Low key is Point Loma football picking up momentum.
Yeah.
Bodie, you gave us Patrick Henry Morris, correct?
I did.
All right, sweet. I will close that out then, and I will say that this to me is a big litmus game. I love it. I love a big test game, and I think that this is the test for the defense for Patrick Henry. The Patrick Henry offense has been the publicly known commodity for the last couple of years. They were breaking scoreboards, putting up 70 and 80, and they're not quite at that offensive level this year. So this is going to be the year where the defense needs to rise up to the occasion a little bit. Yeah, they played Mount Carmel tough. I know that they know what they're doing. They got the pieces in play, but they got to stop this offense. I think that they will get that done, though, by a narrow margin. Guys, anything we've forgotten, didn't get to, anything we missed, skipped over? Colton, this is where you come in and you avoid the dead audio silence and you say, nope. Or just at least give me a nah.
We don't miss things here.
Put something in the group chat. Text it. We'll get our timing down with the intern. I really appreciate everyone for sticking around. Thank you very much for flooding us with your trollish comments afterwards, disapproving of our takes and or our playoff analysis. We look forward to all of it. Tommy, you can find him at Real Tommy Morris on Twitter. He is an enigma, no longer listed in our header on Instagram. But I'm sure that you can figure him out. Bodie DeSilva is at SD Preps on Twitter, on Instagram, on his license plate, in his heart. And you can follow Scorebook Live at SB Live CA. Colton is at Pro Colton Toll on Twitter. Colton, are you trying to get your Instagram plugged?
No, we're good.
Nah, we're good.
Stick
to the assignment for now. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Folks, we really appreciate you sticking around. Thank you very much to the CIF for helping make this all possible, and we'll talk to you guys next week.